Hey guys, so as you can tell by the title of the video today, we are going to be talking about how to open up a med spa. I'm actually really happy to do this video because when I was doing my research, I really didn't see a lot of videos about how to start. And I do get it because it is respective to your location and state. But what I'm going to give you guys today is the basics. So by the time you leave with the video, you should be able to have a general idea of what you need to do to open up your med spa. So let's get into the video. So first things first, you want to start out with the basics. And by basics, I mean you need to have your LLC, you need to go ahead and get your EIN, and you need to check with your state to see what you need to open up a business in that state. And for some states as well, you have to do something separate, open up a separate licensing for your county that you're in, because they'll have different requirements too. So just the basics: get your LLC. You'll file that in whatever state that you're in. Make sure you do your research to make sure that nobody has the name already. Don't pay like one of these sites to do it. You can typically do it for free, or it may be like a little bit of a cost, but go through the actual government site of your state. When you type in like how to file your LLC, like it'll be like pop-ups that will suggest like, oh, we'll get everything for you with the low cost of whatever. You don't need all of that. Just make sure that you go to whatever your state website is and look and see how to file a website, how to file a LLC through there. And then you'll go to the government site, and you'll get your EIN. With your EIN, make sure that you take a picture of it, screenshot it, because typically that is the only way you'll get it. Again, they don't email you or anything like that. And to get it, again, you have to call the site, and y'all already know how the government is, so make sure you screenshot your EIN. But that's free. Don't pay anybody to get that. The government gives it to you for free. And then you want to go ahead and check with your state to see what do they require for you to open up a business in the state, and also the county that you are going to be opening up your med spa in. So that's just pretty basic. That's standard. That is what you need to start first. Get all of your licensing and your paperwork in order. LLC, EIN, and check with your state and counties to see what they require of you to open up a business. Next, we're going to talk about training. So when you think of a med spa, you can really dabble into any area that you want to. You could do aesthetics, you can do IV hydration, you can do post-op care, you can do all of these things. But what I recommend is for you to niche down. Figure out what you want to do first and then go from there. I say that because you want to get certified and trained in these areas, even though as nurses it is in our scope and practice to assess, to administer medication, to start IVs. Even though we know how to do all of that, when it comes to the aesthetic world or the post-op world or IV hydration world, things are a little bit different than when you work in a hospital, if you're coming from that type of background, or if you have no background at all. So you want to go ahead and get certified and trained in whatever area you're going to go into. With us, we wasted a lot of money because we didn't know what we wanted to do. At first, we started off with IV hydration, and then we went into post-op care, and then we finally decided to go ahead and be aesthetic nurses. Those classes cost. Our aesthetic classes range from $3,500 to $1,700. So that's why I say pick whatever niche you want to go into and then get trained. When you're getting these trainings, I want you guys to make sure you're researching your instructors. You can also go to like well-known organizations. We got trained by AAFE. It's the facial aesthetics organization. You also can get trained by AMED, American medical training, something like that. I'll put the links down in the description. You can go to big organizations and get training. You can also get trained by other instructors who are nurses, nurse practitioners, doctors. I know that the person that we got trained by, she was a nurse, and her credentials were basically she worked with a plastic surgeon in California, so she had a lot of knowledge just from working with him, and so we got certified through her. There is no law that says that you need to be certified that I know of, because as a nurse you can do things. The aesthetic world is just so new, and I feel like they're just adding things as they go, and find out what should and shouldn't be doing, especially with the popularity of it, gaining popularity of it now. But being certified just makes you more credible, and you don't really know what you're doing when it comes to filler and Botox and things like that. They don't teach you this in nursing school. So I just feel like certification is necessary. You don't want to be just injecting anywhere, because you have to think about a lot of the facial arteries and nerves. Like, there can be a lot of complications involved with being an aesthetic nurse. So you want to make sure that you are getting certified and doing your research, and just always keeping up on your education. The same you would do with you if you were a nurse, your continuing education. So get certified, get trained in the field that you want to be in, but also make sure that the person who you're getting trained and certified by has the exact or the necessary credentials. Because a lot of people are out here saying that they will certify and train you, and they are not qualified to. So just do your due diligence, do your research. I'll put down in the description box who I went to for our certifications, for our post-op care, because we got certified in all of them. We got certified in post-op, we got certified in aesthetics, and for the IV hydration, we didn't get certified, but it was more an introduction into the whole world of IV hydration and giving us products and companies so that we can order our products from. And just kind of building the framework to get there. So I'll put her information down in the description box below as well. But don't waste your money, because like I said, these things can rack up. So do your research, take your time. The people, if there are people who are on social media, follow their social media, see what they're talking about, see if they are credible, see if they are going to be in depth and detail. You don't just want to be giving your money to anybody. One, and two, like I said, this is just the beginning of when it starts, the cost starts to rise up, because owning a med spa, the cost of it is not cheap at all. You are going to put out a pretty penny. That is one thing about it. Even though there is a high reward, to get to the point of actually being able to see your patients is going to take a significant amount of money. I will preface it by saying that I don't want you guys thinking that, oh, you can go in and open a med spa with $500. You can't. At least not the aesthetic part. But we'll get into other portions of a med spa that you could go ahead and start that doesn't have like a super high startup cost. Okay, so the next important step, and this is one of the biggest important steps, is your medical director. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know of any state in America that allows a nurse to practice independently. Now, there are states that allow nurse practitioners to practice independently, but there are no states where they will allow you as a nurse to open up a medical spa and practice independently. I am in the state of Georgia. I just want you guys to use this information as research and go on and make sure whatever state you are in, you are looking up their rules and regulations. In the state of Georgia, as of now, in order for us to operate our medical spa, we need to have a medical director, and our medical director has to be a medical doctor licensed in the state of Georgia. And when I say that, your medical director cannot be a nurse practitioner. Your medical director in the state of Georgia, I'm speaking specifically, your medical director cannot be an anesthesiologist. Your medical director cannot be somebody in the psych field. They need to be a medical doctor. Keep that in mind. This is very important because, one, as nurses, you cannot order medication. In order for you to get a lot of the aesthetic products like filler, Botox, Kybella, whatever you decide your niche is, it needs to be ordered by a doctor. So that is one of the main reasons why you need it. And then your medical director will do things like sign off on your charge. You'll have standing orders. They'll be available for emergencies or complications. But they don't necessarily have to work in your facility. You are doing the work as the nurse, and that's why you'll have the standing orders. And then you'll have a charting system. You should have a charting system so that the doctor can go in, look over charts, sign stuff, and do the orders. But this is very important because you want your business to be legit. You do not want to get caught up doing these services and you don't have the proper things in place. So look over your state rules and regulations. Every state is going to be different, but for most states you are going to need a medical director. Let me preface that. Let me change that. All states, you are going to need a medical director of some sort. if you are a nurse. If you are a nurse practitioner, I believe like in the state of Texas, don't quote me, but you can practice independently as a nurse practitioner. So that's what I mean. You wouldn't need a medical director. A lot of nurse practitioners that I do know have a medical director because it just gives them that added sense of credibility when people come like, oh, we do have a doctor in-house, or we do have a doctor over us. But there are states that if you are a nurse practitioner, you can practice independently, and that's a good thing, because I will say it was very difficult for us to find a medical director. One, because there are a plethora of doctors out here. You can just go ahead and put a search for it or put an ad out for it, but there are not a lot of doctors in the field. And what we were running into is the doctors who were not familiar with the aesthetic world were looking at it as a liability, and they wanted to because this is going to be a contracted position. You're going to contract them out to be over your business. It's still going to be your business. You run your business how you run your business. You'll have your policies and procedures in place, but obviously you need them to sign off on charts and place orders and things of that sort. So they don't really do a lot. They don't do a lot. Let me preface it by saying that. But the doctors who weren't aware of the aesthetic field were trying to charge like $2,000 and $3,000 to be our medical director. And for what they do, it's definitely not worth that much. So make sure that you are doing your due diligence and doing your research, and preferably find somebody who is in the field of what you're trying to do, because they kind of understand. Especially when you're starting off, you just don't want to be shelling out that type of money, because you don't even know what your clientele is going to look like. For the first month and a half, we were making absolutely no money. And thankfully, because of our medical director, she was looking at the charts and she's like, I don't see any patients. And she was just basically like, bless her heart, she was just like, okay, when y'all start making some money, that's when I'll start charging y'all. So I would say a good range to pay somebody starting off, a medical director starting off, is no more than $1,000. Because again, the prices are going to start racking up. This is just the beginning. So I want you guys to make sure, get you a medical director if it was required within your state. There are businesses such as post-op care where you do not need a medical director. You don't need a medical director to do lymphatic massages or lipocavitation, things of that sort. So if you want to go that route, that is a very lucrative area to go in as well. In a lower startup cost, because you don't have to worry about paying somebody monthly. We decided not to go into post-op because it's a lot of manual work. You'll be doing a lot of work with your hands, and for the price of it, say you're charging $100 minimum, I hope, for a massage, time becomes money. Versus with the aesthetic world, you know, our cheapest service is $600. I can get somebody in and out in 30 minutes and I just made $600. Versus with post-op, with massages, I'm only getting $100 for 60 minutes. So you kind of understand what I'm saying. Like, time is money. I'm not saying that post-op companies cannot, or businesses cannot be lucrative, because I have colleagues who are doing very well with it, but it just takes longer to get to a certain goal. And it's two of us in our business, so we had to think about that as well. But you definitely can be a very successful post-op business. Just understand what you're getting into and have things in place so that you're not exchanging time for money. If that means hiring another massage therapist, having packages, marketing is really going to be your best friend when you get into post-op. Marketing in general is going to be your best friend when you get into any business, but when you are talking about lower tiered businesses where your prices just starts low versus $600, you want to make sure you have things in place, because doing a massage for 60 minutes for $99 is not going to be the moves, I can assure you. So the point that I'm making is that make sure you have a medical director and you understand what your state's rules and regulations are for you operating as a nurse in a med spa. Also, I don't want to leave this out. You are going to need medical malpractice insurance for your business, and then you also want to keep personal insurance for you. When you get your insurance, they're going to ask you a lot of questions about what type of services you are going to offer. We pay about $3,000 for the year for we pay about $3,000 a year for our insurance, which covers our medical director. Make sure you are reading the fine print, because if something ever happens, you just want to make sure you're secured. You don't want to be paying out all this money and something happens and they say, oh, there's no clause in your policy that covers this. So make sure you're very upfront about the procedures that you're going to be offering, and make sure you are reading everything through, because you want to make sure that your medical director is included. Your medical director should also have their own insurance, but a lot of doctors will ask, do you have insurance that covers me as well in your policy? And that's fine. Usually it's no extra charge to add a medical director in your policy. But it's just a safe haven for you, because if something happens, you just never know. You want to make sure that you are protected, and then you also want to just have extra coverage for your own license, since you are going to be the person administering and practicing on people. Hope that makes sense. The way that you can find a medical director, how we found our medical director, is we just placed the ad on Indeed, and we got a bunch of submissions, but like I said, there are a lot of doctors that we had to weed out, because we started to notice that they just were not familiar with the field, and we had to do like a lot of explaining, versus our medical director, I think she just does it as a side hustle. She is not the only we are not the only practice that she is over. So get you somebody I would recommend that is in the field, so they know a little bit more. And you can do it on LinkedIn. You can post on LinkedIn, or you can do it on Indeed. We got a lot more submissions from Indeed. Indeed does have a paid version. I noticed that. So if you are going to look, you don't need to do the paid version. You can do the free version and get just as many people. But it did take us a while to find somebody who was licensed and also knew the field. So be patient, because if you follow the vlogs, you know that I was very discouraged, because it took us a few months to find like the perfect person. We were finding people, but they just didn't seem like a good fit. And you definitely want someone who is looking for longevity to be with you in the business. You don't want anybody who is just trying to make a quick dollar, or who is overcharging you. You want to make sure that you have somebody who is responsive. You want to make sure you have somebody who is educated in the field. It's just going to play a huge component when you start working, because if you have questions about something, especially as a new nurse injector, I'm speaking for the aesthetics, or even IV hydration, you want to feel comfortable going to them if you have complications or anything like that, or something comes up. So Indeed and LinkedIn is how we found our medical directors. You can also do by word of mouth. If you have colleagues, you can just ask them, are they willing to share their medical director's information? I do notice in this field, a lot of people are like hush hush about their medical director. I really don't know why, because it doesn't interfere with your business, especially if you guys are doing two different things, like say post-op care or IV hydration, or in the aesthetic world. But I did notice, not just from me, because we didn't really know anybody, but people that we have met on who are starting up, they were just saying like how they would reach out to certain friends or colleagues, and they were kind of just not be willing and open to giving out their medical director's information, which I guess a part of it I do understand, because it did take us a while to find ours. But I don't know, in the same token, y'all know how I am. I'm willing to share information to a certain extent. So that's that part. Next thing we're going to talk about is location. If you are going to open up an aesthetic med spa, you are going to need a location. I do not want you guys doing this out of your house, or going to anybody else's house to administer these services. It's just not safe. It's just not sanitary. You don't know what people's living situations are. You need a physical space. Now, if you are doing post-op or you are doing IV hydration, it is okay to start off mobile or concierge service only. That's why I do like IV hydration and post-op, because the startup cost is way lower than if you were opening up a full med spa with Botox fillers and things of that sort. Eventually you may want to go ahead and get a brick and mortar, a storefront, but starting off with post-op and IV hydration, you can 1000% do that as mobile or a concierge service. We're talking about opening up a med spa. I just think it makes sense to go ahead and get you a brick and mortar. Also keep in mind when you are looking for your locations, try to find something that is a high traffic area, because that'll be able to pull in clientele, people who just walk by or people who are in like your plaza. You can reach out to them. That'll give you more, it'll allow you to be seen more. Don't go pick some place in the sticks or the boonies where people gotta drive 5 million hours. You just want a convenient location, a place where you can market well, or the business alone just standing there markets for you. So that is my take on location. We pay $1,600 a month for our location. Honestly, I think that is too much. They're charging us just because it's 2 nurses in the space. If they only knew that it was 1, it would be $800. But renting out a space is another bill. So as you guys can see, like, you start to tack on prices when you're doing the med spa. You know, you're doing just your basic paperwork, your LLC licensing. They can start charging you for things. Then when you're getting into training, that cost starts to rack up. Now you're talking about a medical director that you have to pay monthly, and then you're talking about a location that you have to pay rent for every single month. So as you guys can see, the prices are starting to stack up, and we are not done yet. But yes, location is very important. Pick a prime location, one that has a lot of foot traffic, one that allows you to have a lot of visibility, and one that has an inviting space, because you might need to hire a contractor if you are going into an empty building. We are in a salon loft, so everything is kind of built up for us. We have a sink and a seating area. We just had to furnish it. But our next space, I'm definitely thinking we're going to have to hire a contractor, which I'm fine with. But it's levels to everything. Don't think that you have to start out with this big grand space. We are literally in a 1-room suite, and the only reason that we are getting ready to move out is because we need a bigger space. We are offering more services. We are gaining more clientele. We want to be able to do more. So don't be afraid to start small. You don't have to have this big, humongous space. Just make sure that it's clean, it's up to par, it's within the guidelines, and then go from there. And as you start to grow in your business, then you can move on to bigger and better things. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so this is the big one: products and tools. So if you are going to open up a med spa and you are going to do injectables, they can be very expensive. Not they can be, they are. For a box of 15 fillers, and we use the brand Ravenous, it costs us almost $6,500. That is a lot of money, and that is why we charge what we charge, because we want to be able to pay for our product and also make profit as well. So the aesthetic world is just not cheap. Our Botox is around the same amount. I will say for IV hydration, the startup for that was maybe $500, because they come in little kits. The kits range from like $100 to $200. When you get into pricing them how you want to sell them, you can start selling your kits, your drips for $200, and that's how you make the money off of them. So I will say for IV hydration, the products, it's not that expensive in comparison to injectables. Even the tools that you'll need, like the tubing, the normal saline bags, butterfly kits, like all of that stuff is cheap. I would say we spent maybe $1,000, and that's just a stretch on all of our IV hydration stuff. So if I could give a suggestion on what field to go into that is like low cost, I would definitely say IV hydration and post-op. When you start getting into injectables, like, those products are very expensive, because one, they're FDA approved. You don't want to just be putting anything in your patients, because then you run into complications and problems. You can get filler off of Alibaba. Do I recommend it? No, never. Don't even think. I don't even feel like I should have told y'all that, because I don't want anybody going the cheap route. This is your license that is on the line. You don't want to just be putting any type of product in your patients, because it's going to show in your results, and you just don't know what type of complications you're running into. You don't know what this stuff is. And so that's another reason why things cost the price that they do. But you can definitely flip it and make money off of it. But again, as you guys see, now you got your business license, you're paying your medical director, you're paying for your location, you're paying for training. Now you need to pay for products. So you see, like, the medical spa can get very expensive. It is definitely something that you're going to need to have a little bit of money going into. It's not something that you can just kind of start up haphazardly. If you get business credit, which I recommend everybody do, but you kind of need to establish your business first before they give you credit, because a lot of our business we pay for with our own money. I would say we spent about a good $50,000, and that's because we wasted a lot of money not knowing what we wanted to do. And that's why I do recommend learn what niche you want to go into, stick to it, and go from there. Don't start trying to do any and everything, like, oh, we offer post-op, oh, we offer IV hydration, oh, we offer injectables. It's a lot. It's a lot. Pick one thing and go from there. But we spent about a good $50,000 just to get our business up and running. So again, this is not a cheap business to get into. It looks like it's glamorous and, oh, like a nurse injector, but the prices start to rack up and the clients don't just come automatically. Like, now we're going to get into marketing, which is my next point. Marketing is a must. You cannot start a business without some type of marketing plan or formula. I'll be honest with y'all. I've always been honest with y'all. The first month and a half, we made $0. I mean $0. And at this point, we were paying our medical director, and she told us, like, wait, y'all are paying me and y'all don't even have any clientele. Let's take a step back and reevaluate some things. So we had to hire a marketing coach, somebody who knows the game. She gave us the play, and all we do is run it up. And a lot of things, honestly, is trial and error when it comes to business, but you don't want to just depend on social media. Social media is a great platform to advertise your business, but it is not the end all be all. You have to remember that these sites are not yours. So you want to have things in place. If Facebook shuts down, if Instagram shuts down, you want to be able to have something in place where you can get to your target audience. Email and text message marketing is phenomenal when it comes to word of mouth. Like, you actually need to get out and meet people. I know the day in the world that we're in, that seems so like new, but you actually have to go meet your neighbors. We do a lot of events in our community, wellness events at school. These are just ideas that you guys can, outside of just Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Those are great marketing tools as well, but you have to have a plan in place. It's not as simple as just posting and using hashtags and expecting people to come, as we learned very on. So marketing is very important. You want to make sure that you have a monthly budget for your marketing. Our business coach basically taught us that 10% of however much you want to make for the month, so say you want to make $10,000 a month, you need to have 10% of that dedicated towards your marketing. So marketing is one of those things that has helped our business flourish. I cannot stress it enough. It is one of the things that I feel like is a no-brainer. You need it in your business. It's going to catapult you sooner than later into seeing the return on your investment, which is your business. Everybody is doing this business so that they can, one, have a little bit more freedom, because bedside is not it, and two, you want it for longevity. You want your business to be able to pay for your bills and build generational wealth, or franchise, or however, whatever way that you want to see your business go. The point is, we're not doing this for a short time. We're doing this for a long time. We're doing this for stability. We're doing this for longevity. So I definitely suggest having marketing as one of the tools to help you get your business up and running. All right, you guys, so that is the end of the video. I hope that I explained everything well, and by the time you leave the video, you have a better understanding of what you need to open up your own medical spa or post-op business or IV hydration. I do have an ebook that I am going to link down below that basically takes everything that I said and puts it in book form. I hope that this video was informative. I hope that you learned a lot from it. And if you guys are starting up your med spa, let me know. y'all know, y'all have seen me on this journey, so I'm excited for everybody. A few of y'all have DM'd me like, this is the route that I want to take, like you've inspired me, like I'm excited. So I'm excited for y'all because y'all know I want y'all to live y'all best life. I'm always trying to put y'all up on game, but I want y'all to do what is for you. Don't take the route just because I'm taking it. Like really take your time and do your research and figure out what you like. I can definitely say this was a great career choice for me. It is not easier. Let me preface it by saying that me doing my 12 hours at the hospital is far more easier than me coming to be an entrepreneur. In a business, you are everything. You will be everything for quite some time until you start to put things in place and start to outsource things and start to make money so that you can outsource things. But the reward of it's just one of those feelings where it's just like, it beats working in the hospital any day. Even though I'm always crying, I'm stressed out, I always got something to do for the business, the reward I get from starting this, it was just the idea to actually flourish it now, you know, that reward is so beautiful that it's just like nothing can compare. It is harder. I don't want to put it out here like, oh, you're going to be your own boss and it's going to be easier. No, it's going to be a lot harder. Imagine going into the hospital and being staffing, being a charge nurse, having to have your own patients, having to be environmental services, having to go to the cafeteria. Like, it's kind of like that. You are everything in your business, but it is definitely rewarding. So I hope this answered all your questions or gave you more insight into how to start a med spa or start your own business as a nurse. Again, I do have an ebook down below. It should be out by the time you see this video. That'll kind of guide you through the same steps, just with a lot more detailed information. So until next time, I will see you guys later.